Well, let's take a look at Pro Stock motorcycle qualifying, and we go back to session 1.
Hector Arana and Jim Underdahl. Watch Hector Arana Jr. right side of your screen. He's been running very well in qualifying, and this was no difference as he blasted down the racetrack to a 691, 191 miles per hour. Jim Underdahl, not bad though, 699 laps time for him.
So out of that session, he had number 1. This is session 2. Eddie Krawiec and Matt Smith now on the line. Keep an eye on the Harley V-Rod of Eddie Krawiec because he lays down a number good enough to...
Watch Hector Arana Jr. Does he get it? No, just misses. Quick of the session, though. A 688.9 at 194 miles per hour keeps him in that number 2 spot.
And speaking of Pro Stock motorcycle, the final session is about to get underway. Look how pretty a day it is as we take a look at the Pro Stock motorcycle standings going into this final session with Eddie Krawiec sitting number 1.
In the bottom 8, you see Michael Phillips is on the bump spot with a 7:05 elapsed time on the Suzuki.
And not in the field, Whitaker, GT Tonglet, Matt Gadara, Joe DeSantis. And on the line right now, GT Tonglet and Whitaker. Both guys looking for a position in. Neither guy makes it. Both increased their ET, but nothing there for them.
Yeah, the big go. U.S. Nationals. Look at Justin Finley. He's got get that thing in the proper gear. I think he's fired up to the burnout. Field is set, so good news for Justin. He will be racing tomorrow. He's going to push the bike off with a problem, so that will give Michael Phillips a single. He is on the bump spot with that 7:050, so he knows he's going to be racing tomorrow, but he'll try to improve on his time. So he get the rev limiter up top first gear.
Michael moved up during the Western Swing, started it in 10th, moved up to 7th. He can't improve on his ET here, though, so there it is for Mike. But right now, it's the ladies. Angie Smith on her Buell. Karen Stouffer on her Suzuki. Angie's not in the top 10. She's tied for 13th, 77 points back. I'd say that was a reach.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but a little bit of surprise, too, that Karen Stouffer's only qualifying the number 14 position. She's been running well this season, had some mechanical gremlins at a couple of races, but when everything's been working right, she's been making fantastic runs. So I'm a little bit surprised to see her in that number 14 spot right now. Obviously, she's going to try to improve.
Karen Stouffer, a 7 flat, 190 miles an hour. Doesn't improve on anything. They stay where they were, but remember, we've got hot sun now bearing down on the track. Put him number 1, a 688 at 194 miles an hour.
Then in session number 3, will Hector Arana Jr. be able to take it back away from Eddie Krawiec? Alongside Jim Underdahl, once again, the two leads side by side.
Hector Arana on the line right now. Mike Berry. Hector trying to get up in the field, trying to get around his son, who sits currently 2nd. Hector just trying to find a way to get off that 11th spot and get into the top half. Hector lays down a 7:04. For Berry, it's a 7:16, and they're going to stay right where they were.
You know, we still have the countdown. As long as we qualify and stay in the playoff format, I think we can actually do something to the Indians here.
Paul, what about the bikes on the racetrack right now?
Well, Jerry Savoy and Steve Johnson, both on Suzuki. Neither one can improve their position, Dave. This is Matt Smith and Chip Ellis. 2007 Pro Stock motorcycle champion in Smith. Ellis is 3 rounds out of 10th in the points. He got to get things going right now if he wants to make anything happen in the playoffs. Dave. Andrew Hines and David Hope up now. Hines sits in 3rd. Hope is back in 7th place. He's in the top half of the field. Going into Sonoma, David was 1 round out of 10th. Now he's 3 rounds back, so Hope's going for Hope.
Well, David Hope, he hasn't even been running on Friday. He's got a promotion into the Chrysler Corporation that doesn't allow him to show up until Saturday, but he makes the most of it. I mean, 7:03 elapsed time doesn't improve on his time. Andrew Hines goes 6:94 at 192 miles per hour, low of the session thus far. We're seeing pretty much all the motorcycles slow down a couple hundredths of a second.
So nothing has changed in terms of position during this session of Pro Stock Motorcycle. Take a look at this. We're talking the stock up in Pro Stock Motorcycle right now.
Mainly in points position. You see LE moved from 6th to 3rd, and David Hope we just saw run. He went from 14th to 11th, and Chip Ellis has been running very well also, moving up.
The final session of Pro Stock Motorcycle is out there right now. Hector Arana Jr. over on the right side currently sits second behind Eddie Krawiec. That's Jim Underdahl. This is a home race for him. He races the Suzuki.
Jim's been making some good runs, very consistent to qualify, be qualified in that number 6 spot right now. But as I said, we've seen everybody slow down about 300ths of a second in this final session. Remember, the red lights don't matter in qualifying. They're just going for elapsed time.
Hector lays down a 690. That is low for the session, but it is not low enough to take Eddie Krawiec off of the number 1 spot. That's Eddie Krawiec, currently number 1. L.E. Tonglet is in the other lane. These bonus points at the top of all classes. We're talking the little points, Mike, the 1, 2, and 3 that you get for being quickest in your session.
Yeah, he's qualifying session, and this is for all of the classes. And you see Eddie Krawiec is the leader in the clubhouses. He's been making some very consistently quick runs in qualifying.
L.E. Tonglet doesn't feel all that well. He said he's had trouble sleeping lately.
I think that might be nerves.
Could be.
He's too young to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, at his age, man, nobody cares.
Just go out and have fun. He's been having fun coming off that championship last year.
Krawiec 692, 697 for LE. That's going to wrap it up for Pro Stock Motorcycle, and Eddie Krawiec is going to hang on to the number 1 spot.
Take another look at Eddie Krawiec. You see that Blanche, very good 60-foot, but then when he puts in second gear, that thing picks the front end up, picks it up again in third, and look at the back end wash out.
Wow.
Really has to lean that bike. That is a great shot, showing how the rider has to try to keep that thing in the middle of the groove, and he did a fantastic job. Once he got it back, he straightened up and went down the racetrack.
Not only a good shot, but great reaction times. The Lucas Oil Pro Stock Motorcycle ladder lines up this way. L.E. Tonglet will have Angie Smith, and Chip Ellis and Mike Berry will go at it.
Other side of the ladder, we got a great matchup. Andrew Hines going to have lane choice over Karen Stouffer, and then Jimmy Underdahl is going to have lane choice over Hector Arana.
And still to come, Funny Car will be coming up in a little bit. Ron Capps back in his pits, having some fun with some fans and with some of his sponsorship commitments.